Tonight, ABC57 investigates a growing crisis in South Bend, evictions.
Yeah, according to the eviction lab at Princeton University, South Bend's eviction rate doubled between 2012 and 2016. At 6.71%, South Bend's eviction rate is almost 3 times the national average. And it adds up to a little more than 3 evictions a day. ABC57 investigative reporter Drew Gardner has been working for months to find out why.
As I went in search of answers, 3 key issues kept coming up: a lack of affordable housing, a lack of tenants' rights, and some shady practices that are believed to be happening in our local housing market. All things that will likely continue driving up the eviction rate until they are dealt with.
Don McKinney, his wife, and 3 kids have been shuffled around quite a bit this year.
We had to live in a hotel for 3 months, and that was rough.
The family was forced out of their South Bend home where they lived for a year and a half.
The house was tore up. It was like a HUD house. So we moved in, we did all the work. We laid down tile, we laid down carpet on the floor.
McKinney says it was trash left outside the house that caused problems. Code enforcement billed the owner to remove it from the property. He passed that bill along to McKinney, who says the trash was there when he moved in.
He called my wife and asked my wife, since we don't want to take care of the bill, then we need to move out of his house.
So they did. They moved into a hotel and went searching for a new home. When they found one, they were denied because they were told they had an eviction on their record. They found out their landlord filed an eviction in court even though they already moved out. Turns out he still wanted reimbursement for that code enforcement bill.
We just got blindsided, and I felt that was wrong.
The judge ultimately ruling in the landlord's favor, something that is not uncommon in St. Joseph County or the state.
Indiana has really, really bad eviction laws.
Judy Fox is an attorney at the Notre Dame Clinical Law Center. She deals with evictions every day and says many of the properties people are being forced from are in horrible condition, but the law leaves tenants virtually powerless.
In many other states, if, for instance, you don't have water or you don't have heat or you've got black mold, you can say to the landlord, look, I've got these problems, and if they don't fix them, you can say, look, I'm going to hang on to the rent until you do.
Not the case here, though. State law prohibits that. Fox also says landlords aren't often held accountable.
Part of what we're seeing has a lot to do, actually, as a remnant of the foreclosure crisis. You had a lot of investors coming in and buying abandoned foreclosed properties, and frankly, there's a lot of fraud going on, and a lot of these properties are really not habitable.
Fox recently filed a lawsuit representing 9 tenants renting from these properties. It lays out how one landlord allegedly was able to collect rent and evict people from properties he didn't legally own. The case even sparked a reevaluation of how eviction cases are handled here in St. Joseph County courts.
The courts have recently become concerned about this as well, and now are requiring proof of ownership before you can evict, and some landlords are very upset about this, but it has always been the law.
When filing evictions, landlords are also supposed to put up a cash bond that protects the tenants in the event they're wrongfully evicted.
Landlords would just, instead of paying the cash bond, would put up the property that was being rented as collateral.
But in cases like the lawsuit Fox filed, the landlords were putting up property they had no legal ownership of.
So the courts were inadvertently kind of helping people scam the system.
They were inadvertently. I think, systems develop over years and years of practice, and they just happen. And yes, that's what happened.
And with that, South Bend's eviction rate has soared, leaving many people now with a tainted record hard-pressed to find housing in a market already tapped out on affordable housing. According to HUD, affordable means the cost for low-income families is less than 24% of the area median income. In South Bend, that's about $35,000, making affordable housing anything less than $690 a month.
The houses that my clients are renting that don't have water and have mold and have, no facilities in them are renting for $800 and $900 a month because that's all that's out there for them.
In August, Indiana Republican Senator Todd Young made a stop in South Bend to tout a bill he's introduced to start a task force to look at the impact a lack of affordable housing has on things like education and health care. But locally, Fox says there are things that need to be cleaned up now.
Some of this is fraud. Some of this is really shady stuff going on that I would love to see the prosecutor take a look at.
McKinney hopes for the same. He and his family are settling into their new home after finding a landlord who agreed to rent to him despite the eviction.
Thanks to God, we survived it and we got past it.
But he knows others aren't always as lucky.
I sat in on a day's worth of eviction hearings, and the majority of tenants didn't show up. Fox says that's often the case. She says tenants do have some rights, and it's important you show up to defend them and to also seek help. There are several local organizations that provide free legal aid that can help you navigate an eviction. We've got links right now inside this story at ABC57.com. In the studio, Drew Gardner, ABC57 News.
And if you're going through an eviction and have a story to share or another issue that needs investigating, email us at 57 Investigates at ABC57.com, or you can call our tip line at the number there on your screen.